Yo, what's going on everyone? It's me, Mr Premps, and today I bring you One Piece. And by One Piece, I mean my One Piece manga chapter 1004 predictions, coupled up with my huge expectations for Zoro in this battle against Kaido. Now this is probably the part of the video where I tell you guys and girls that it's tough to do a prediction video, as more times than not, we have no idea where Oda is going. However, I'm sitting on my high horse today because I like to think I got a lot right with my 1003 predictions. Particularly as I spoke about Kaido's hybrid form and the introduction of CP0, and that's exactly what we got. But enough of that, because before we get started, we have the usual formalities, so make sure you leave a like on the video as it helps me out so much with that YouTube algorithm. And if you're returning to the channel or even here for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as 1, it helps me to grow my channel, but 2, so you never miss out when I drop other content just like this. And lastly, if you like One Piece and talking about it with others just like yourself, make sure you check out the Void Century Club forum, in which I'll leave a link to in the description to this video. And now the formalities are out of the way, let's get into this video. Now just to recap what happened last chapter, we got another 10 out of 10 chapter, fast paced, action packed and informative. But let's start off with Luffy, because from the offset we got Luffy giving Kaido that work, hitting him with the heavy blows, you know, not the pap pap sort of blows, but the pap 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 sort of blows, literally haymakers, and it was so ridiculous that it had Big Mom like damn. And then the commentary we got from Kid, realizing that such strength came at a cost to Luffy, as Luffy came out of his Gear 4 form and lost his haki. However, this is where things become interesting, because Zoro picked up the pieces last chapter once Luffy lost his haki, and I believe he's about to have his time to shine here too. Luffy is currently out of the equation, so we have Law, Kid, Killer and Zoro taking on Big Mom and Kaido, and that's Kaido in his hybrid form. And I say hybrid because even though the official used that trash translation of Man Beast, we all know that it's his hybrid form. And the reason I'm so excited is because Zoro caught Kaido last chapter. I found it absolutely amazing when Kaido was like, "Are you trying to challenge me to a Dragon Twister contest?" as he and Zoro went back and forth with Dragon Twister attacks. But the fact of the matter is, Zoro caught Kaido. And even though we could downplay this feat, as it was a 3-sword style attack and there's only one cut, which we know was Enma, however, let's look past that and just embrace the moment and celebrate the fact that Zoro has penetrated Kaido's scales. Because next chapter is where things are going to get interesting. Zoro and the others have to hold Kaido and Big Mom at bay until Luffy regains his haki. And this could go one or two ways, because my logic tells me that Kid and Killer are going to take on Kaido. They've kept their focus on Kaido, and to be honest, in the last chapter, Kid called out to Killer to make sure that they kept the pressure on Kaido. So this would leave Big Mom, who it appears Law was trying to deal with, as he used the counter shock attack, although it appeared to not do any damage whatsoever. This would leave Zoro to do the job of the right hand and look after Luffy, protecting him from these monster Yonko for the next 10 minutes until he gets his haki back. But I don't see things going down like this, because Zoro isn't the type to just sit back. Zoro is best when he's on the offense and doing some hype shit. And even though I'm a massive fan of Sanji, had he been on the rooftop instead of Zoro right now, I could definitely see him playing the protection role for Luffy. But it's Zoro, so what should we expect? Well, I think this is where Oda can really, and I mean really, give Zoro his time to shine, because it appears Kaido has been waiting for a samurai like Odin to appear, and trust me, Zoro is the second coming, because given the amazing effort that the Scabbards did, not even one of them could scar Kaido like Zoro has done. Albeit he does have Enma, but regardless, this is definitely a feat. How hype would it be if we saw Zoro vs Kaido almost in a 1v1 for the next 10 minutes, with Zoro truly showing his skill set, proving why he's worthy of being appreciated by Kaido. Now what would the end result of this fight be? Well, it's very obvious that Kaido will win, but I think it's how this occurs that would be interesting, and here's why. We know Zoro has not mastered Enma. From when Zoro first wielded Enma, we saw that it was literally stealing his haki, causing him to begin to tire as it was draining him. Well, what if Oda used this encounter to almost train Zoro to control Enma a little better, but ultimately having Zoro end up in an identical scenario that Luffy is in, where Enma has caused him to use so much haki that he's unable to use his haki for a given time period too. That is something I know a lot of people will hate, but I would love to see. But in the meantime, we still do have Big Mom, and she is a problem. So I can see Kid or Killer or maybe even Law holding her off for the time being, even though she's been extremely impressive since arriving on the rooftop. And in regards to protecting Luffy, well, funnily enough, I think that could be Law's job too. But who knows, maybe Luffy can fathom the energy to actually move himself, as I'm guessing he did the exact same against Katakuri. Now, even though everything I've spoken about would be ideal for the next chapter, I did mention that sometimes Oda can be unpredictable, so there is still a possibility that we leave the rooftop. And I mean, to me, after Oda teasing us with Kaido's hybrid form, it would be just like him to leave the rooftop for a couple of chapters and not give us the full reveal. I mean, Oda does love a silhouette challenge, so if we don't stay on the rooftop, there's somewhere else I think he can go. And this follows on from the slight tease we got before the CP0 introduction, and I think we could see what happened to Orochi and what the heck his Oniwa Banshu are doing, because according to Fukurokoju, there were 5,000 members in total in the Oniwa Banshu, and honestly that's enough to sway the dynamics of this battle that CP0 so beautifully narrated, so let's see what happens there. Outside of that, I think there's also the possibility of seeing how King and Queen are getting on with Marco, and even the possibility of seeing what Jack is doing, because honestly, Jack basically got off-screened and it feels like he's had ages to rest, but that'll probably be for a bit later on in the story. If we look beyond this, it's the usual culprits, and that's the Straw Hats, but I don't want to talk about them too much, because we did get the little panels of them, and I spoke about what we could see with them in my 1003 prediction. But as a reminder, Sanji is in some sort of dynamic with Black Maria, however I don't see this occurring for too long, and ultimately I can see Robin picking up this fight on his behalf, potentially with some support from Brook. Jinbei's having his encounter with Who's Who, which is something I really want to see and I'm really intrigued by, as it feels like Who's Who has some sort of mystery about him. Frankie's delivering as always. I think his battle against Sasaki is going to be great, just like his battle against Senior Pink. And honestly, I really do like Frankie a lot, and I think he's underrated because he's always so dependable. And of course, we've got the others like Nami and Usopp versus Ulti and Page 1, but this time with some support from Tama. And of course, Chopper's off probably doing some doctor shit somewhere. But I think the main thing here is that a lot's happening right now. And that's without us going into what's happening with some of the other members from the quote-unquote worst generation, such as Drake, Hawkins and Apu. So there's a lot to cover. But I guess that just about does it for this video. So tell me, do you guys and girls think Zoro gets his time to shine in these 10 minutes? And if not, how do you think things are going to go down on the rooftop? Will this be Kid's time to shine? I mean, he has been a little disappointing so far, so it could be time for Oda to have him show out. But as always, if you like anything I've had to say, please make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video and make sure you subscribe so you never miss out when I drop more content just like this. SAFEEE.